It's time once again for the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we sit down with today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise as they share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life and the lives of others. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Are you ready to step into your greatness? Do what you need to do to ensure that the next chapter of your life, your next story, will be written your way. Well, hi, I'm Christy Ruffino, the host of the show and the creator of the Overcoming Mediocrity Project, where everyday women tap into the power of their stories to magnify their message and elevate their brand so they can enjoy a business and life of true significance. I'm happy that you're here because this show is for people like you who are on the edge of change. You're ready to rise up, overcome mediocrity, empower your thoughts, elevate your thinking, and transform your life. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's get started. Today's episode is brought to you by the Overcoming Mediocrity Project. Are you ready to share your story in a life-changing book with other success-driven women? Then, what if you could use that book to get speaking gigs, podcast interviews, and possibly a new client or two? Wouldn't that be great? Well, watch out, chicken soup. Here comes Overcoming Mediocrity. Our proven system can transform your struggle story into a powerful signature message and then as one chapter in an Amazon best-selling book. Our process is simple and economical, and it will bring a lot of eyeballs on you, your business, and your big message to the world. We welcome you to apply to join our project. Just visit us at overcomingmediocrity.org and click on the apply button at the top of the page. We'll see you soon. Well, welcome to today's episode of the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. I'm Christy Ruffino, and I'm excited to be able to introduce to you today's guest, Pat Mussieux. Pat, I met her, about 5 or 6 years ago at a business conference, and she was one of the keynote speakers. And I was also very fortunate to be with her in a smaller breakout room, and I was just taking notes frantically. Really wanted to soak up all her wisdom, and I'm really happy that I have the honor of being able to share her with my audience on today's show. So Pat, she is an internationally acclaimed speaker, award-winning business coach, TV host, and author who lives in Edmonton, Canada. Her newest book, Business Gets Better When You Get Better, How to Change Yourself to Change Your Results. It will be released in the summer of 2021. She has also co-written Leadership Guru Speaks Out, contributing her wisdom and expertise in the fields of human resources, sales, marketing, and training. Pat has appeared regularly in media and print publications, and she won the New York-based Stevie Award Female Entrepreneur of the Year in Canada 4 times. The Stevie Award for Women in Business, Female Executive of the Year, I guess that would be 1 time. And Pat has been named as one of the top 100 women entrepreneur experts to follow on Twitter. She has actually transformed her life at age 57. Her story, from trash bag to travel in a private plane around the world, as well as taking her business from 0 to close to $1 million in less than 6 years, are a direct result of her expertise in the area of mindset, marketing, and money. She works with entrepreneurs all around the world, including a mentoring project in both Johannesburg and Zimbabwe. Let's go ahead and get on with the show so you can get to meet Pat, and make sure you're ready with paper and pencil so you can take your notes as well on all of the things you're going to learn from her today. So let's get on with the show and meet Pat. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. I am here today with my special guest, Pat Mussieux. Did I say that right, Pat?
Right on.
Awesome. Well, I actually met Pat quite a few years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was a student in one of her classes. That was the first time I met her. And I remember taking notes. I actually still have all my notes from that conference I was at. And I remember taking so many notes. You were so, just on point and precise. And I was just soaking it all up. And so I'm really excited to learn from you today, as well as share your wisdom with my audience. But before we dive into that, what I would really like to start with is your story. How did Pat get to be the expert she is right now?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, because secondly, I am on a mission to share my story, because if we were to sum it up, my message to individuals, to professionals, to women is it's never too late and you're never too old. Never too old. And so, as I said to you earlier, my story is long because I'm old. So I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version. And I'm going to start with a 10-year period in the 90s that really was the foundation for who I am now, how I think, what I do, how I create my life. And many of your listeners may be familiar with Lou Tice and the Pacific Institute. I worked with Lou. I mentored with Lou. I was part of the Institute's faculty. I was part of the International Speakers Bureau. And the Pacific Institute is an international educational institute. And the focus of all the programs is around mindset, critical thinking skills. So I had the good fortune over a 10-year period of going on out into the world, delivering this information, public sector, private sector, nonprofit, and so on, a lot of leadership training. In the process, I became who I am now, because as I learned from Lou and all of the research psychologists that we worked with, we don't know how much potential a human being has. It's infinite. And what we do know is that there are certain ways of thinking to create the life that you do want. And it really was over that period of time that led to some of the significant changes and evolution of Pat, if you will. And what happened over that period of time, and, when I was younger, and so you get to a certain point in life where life happens. And so my mother-in-law had Alzheimer's disease. My father-in-law had terminal cancer. My best friend was dying of breast cancer. My infant grandson was taken off life support and passed away. And all of those life things that typically would happen over a period of time, for me, happened in a very condensed period of time. And had it not been for the incredible mentoring and training from Lou Tice, I don't know that I would have had the mental, emotional, even physical strength to get through some of those big life hits. While that was all happening in the meantime, and I was traveling around working for the Pacific Institute, my marriage was dying too. So I made a decision. And after 25 years in that relationship, I made the decision to walk out the door, because my soul was dying. And again, I know many people can relate to that right now, whether it's been a long-term career in corporate, whether it's been a long-time relationship, my soul was dying. And as I watched my world dying around me, I recognized really the clearing, if you will, of the way, the journey, the future for me, because I knew that there was so much more to life and so much more to me. And so I walked out of that marriage and I moved across the country with virtually my life in a trash bag, and landed there, no business, no contacts, no money. However, I had a dream and I had the critical thinking skills to reinvent myself. And that, Christy, is just a few years before you met me, because a lot of people know me as a keynote speaker coming out with my green trash bag and telling.
I remember.
and telling that it was quite impactful actually for a lot of people. I've given that trash bag away to a lot of people too who made a decision after hearing my story. And so I landed on the East Coast, and I also decided that because I knew how to think critically, I knew my stuff from leadership coaching and so on. What I didn't know was how to market it. And these were the days where social media was really just becoming a thing. And so I knew I needed to learn that piece. So I hired a high-level marketing coach out of New York, and I knew she had passed the $1 million mark. And I hired her, and I said, look, I'm way older than you. I have less time. I want you to teach me everything I need to know, and I will do it. Because another one of my principles and that I teach on is she who implements wins. She who implements wins. And I am a major implementer. And so I did take my speaking and coaching business way up to the $1 million mark. I was traveling all around the place, loving what I was doing. However, what happened then that took me to the next phase of transformation is that you cannot be on the road 3 weeks of every month, different hotels, different countries, different stages, different cultures, different time zones, and maintain a certain level of health. And actually, Christy, was in Chicago. It was in Chicago in January, this particular year. I'd been on the road for 3 weeks. I was tired. I had been to Argentina, Florida, California, Seattle, Vancouver, heading back, landed in Chicago. And I was tired. It was a Saturday. And when I lived on the East Coast, there was only one Saturday connecting flight from Chicago to where I lived in London, Ontario. And I was watching that infamous board, and the snow was falling in Chicago. Delayed. I was like, oh, please, Jesus, just get me home. Canceled. And I went into the washroom in the airport, and I looked in the mirror, and I didn't recognize who was looking back at me because I had big black bags under my eyes. I was inflamed. My skin tone was gray. I had put on weight. I was exhausted, and I just started crying. And I vowed right then and there, I've got to make some changes. And it's funny because I spoke to Kathy too in the course of that tear-filled. It's like, oh my gosh, if I need a room, is the guest room ready? It's good to have relationships, right? That's another key piece to my success is relationships, whether it's in business or whether it's personal. So when I got back home, I called my personal trainer and I said, all right, I need to make some changes. And while I am a workout fanatic. I love working out. And he said, it's not your exercise, it's your nutrition. Now, being a French Canadian Catholic military Irish person, I argued, it's not my nutrition. I worked for Weight Watchers for 8 years. I know my nutrition. He said, no, you don't. And I said, yeah, I do. He said, no, you don't. And he said, I want you to try this system for 30 days. It will change everything for you. And if it doesn't, you've got nothing to lose. And being stubborn, I said to him, sure, I'll try it. And he said, if you don't, you're not going to work out with me anymore. And he looked at me and he said, you know, that's the way you coach. That's the way I coach. No BS. So I did, in fact, follow his nutritional advice, the nutritional system, the exercise changed everything for me. Changed everything, Christy, because when you've got your health, when you've got your energy, you really can take on the world. And then what happened simultaneously, my very best friend, like my soul sister in Ontario, was diagnosed with terminal ovarian cancer. And so while I had been out on stages everywhere and in mastermind groups and teaching women financial freedom, how to grow your business, how to maintain a profit, she was dying. And I took a bit of a sabbatical from my business because she was divorced, like me, entrepreneur, like me, lived alone, like me. We were best friends. So I took her to every chemo visit every Friday. And after every surgery, I moved in with her to make sure she was okay. And all through palliative care, hospice care, we had a lot of those deathbed conversations. And I'm sure you've seen the graphic that goes around, the 10 regrets of the dying. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went through every one of them. And she looked at me and she said, first of all, if I could trade places with you, I would do anything. But secondly, she said, you need to stop talking about making money and you need to start talking to women about how you've transformed your health so that you do have the ability, the clear thinking, the energy, the flexibility and mobility to stay in business, grow the business, and get out there and continue to be an inspiration.
Yeah.
And so she passed away, and I made a commitment to myself at that time that I am going to make another change in my life, because while I was there for her, I recognized where I lived, I had nobody there for me. So I moved back across the country. I sold everything again. I moved back across the country with pretty much nothing, like physically, bookcases and so on. And I came back here to be near my family, my kids, my grand. This is where I had started out when I left my marriage. So I came back, and my decision in coming back was to downsize my life. I downsized all my mastermind groups, all my coaching clients. I had a full speaking calendar, though, which I loved. It was prime places, prime fee for service. It was perfect for 2020 and 2021. And then COVID hit. So my business died overnight. I lost probably close to $250,000 in revenue overnight. Now, what I used to coach in my mastermind groups and with my clients was, you've always got to have additional streams of revenue, always. And I walk my talk. So I did have this third stream of revenue, an online business in the wellness space. And with COVID and being isolated, it's like online's the way to go. So I rolled up my sleeves and got to work helping women now online get healthy and wealthy. And in working with my speaking coach, we've changed my signature talk. And the purpose with the intention of the message now is that with COVID, it has hit a lot of people and a lot of businesses in a very, very serious way. And so my message now is that for different stages of life, you can have a different purpose. You can pivot, and it is never too late. So that's my story. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'll tell you, I'm the healthiest, happiest 69-year-old in my circle. And as I said, people always ask me, what are you drinking? And I tell them, because the key is health is my wealth.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. That's what I'm doing now. That's the story.
That is your story.
That's it.
Good. All right. I remember when we were at one of the conferences, I believe in Arizona, and you got up every morning, you were out running, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow. And then when I
Yeah.
heard how old you were, I'm like, no way. Because I would never, ever guess. I mean, you definitely take care of yourself very well, and you did then, but now that you have really made that your mission to help other people, I think that's so important, because as entrepreneurs, I know, I don't think, at least I can speak for myself, I personally don't take care of myself like I should. And we need to make that a priority, because once it's too late, it's too late.
Listen, when you get to my age and stage, and not even that now, there are people, I just listened to a podcast while I was out walking, and the statistics for people with diabetes, who are obese, who have cancer, and I mean, fill the list, right?
Yeah.
That's like 90% of the population. I take no meds. I have no aches or pains. I have no artificial body parts. Like, I am rather unique in my circle here. I'm like that close to 70 years old. And I've already mapped out on my vision board, my 70s, my 80s. Like, I know where I'm going, what I want to do, who I want to play with. And this, Christy, this is the way you want to live life.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Pat. Well, if you don't mind hanging on one moment, we're going to go to a quick commercial, and then we'll be back, because I know you've got some great information to share.
Yeah, I'll be right here.
Anyone can network. Yes, anyone can meet people and collect business cards. However, not everyone knows how to network in a way that will provide them with a regular supply of new and repeat business. Treasured Tribes is more than just another networking book. This revolutionary book will show you how to adapt different strategies with your networking efforts that will get you better results than ever before. To grab your copy, visit www.treasuredtribes.com. So welcome back to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, and we're back with Pat Mussieux. I know we talked about that. It's like, I miss you, Pat.
Exactly.
Yay. And yeah, so there's a lot of Pat's story that I heard for the first time because I heard her trash bag story, but I did not hear how her story has evolved. And I just know that she is following her heart and she's making a huge difference. And every person that she's able to help, especially women, it's just more people that she, because women, they just want to go wrap their arms around other people and help them. So you have focused now on helping women become healthier and wealthier.
Yes.
How do you do that?
We see, here's two driving forces for me. I do not wake up every day to be mediocre.
Yes.
Like I don't. I have God-given gifts and talents, and shame on me if I don't use them. And like I said to you earlier, I've been around enough of my friends who are dying, and they're either still dying or they're dead. And they have died with their gifts in them, which gave me all the more stimulus, if you will, to keep going and get very clear and focused on what I am doing. So I have no intention of being mediocre. And I do have every intention of standing out in the crowd, because what I know for sure is that it's crowded at the bottom, Christy.
Yeah.
It's crowded at the bottom. And so I love to climb mountains as well in my spare time. And so, it's beautiful when you start climbing and you get to the top. The view is clear, the air is fresh, there's elbow room, there's room to grow and really be who you are. And the majority of people in life are followers. And I recognize that, and I recognize my leadership skills. So I'm quite clear and direct and focused on stepping out and helping anybody who wants it and is ready for it. And so that's what brings me great joy when somebody raises their hand and says, I feel like crap and I'm sick and tired of that. Or I am sick and tired of that bank account that I struggle with, or with my business, or with self-image and self-confidence, because mindset is my area of expertise. And so I am on a mission to help, whether it's through podcast interviews, whether I'm on stage, however, wherever, and now online for sure. There are so many women at home right now. I read that in the United States in September, 860,000 women, take that in, 860,000 women in September left the workforce.
Really?
That's from the Business Insider. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're at home, and they're at home rethinking their life. They're at home rethinking their gifts. They're at home rethinking their time and their energy. And those are the women I'm working with. So whether it is health related and I am helping them with these wonderful products that I have, or whether they're joining my team and creating residual and leveraged income, which is so important these days because there's so much uncertainty outside. You can bring that certainty inside and create this online business. And so that's what I get up every day. That's my focus. It's like, come to me, people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I love your analogy about the mountain, because that really connected with me, because yes, it's crowded at the bottom and then we can't see, and it's just like not the place we want to be. But going up the mountain is scary, right? It is scary to climb, and it does take persistence and dedication. But when you're up there, everything is clearer and everything is more like expansive. And it's just amazing when you're on the top and can kind of see everything that's going on. So I really like that visualness of that.
Well, thank you. And you can't start climbing if you're not in good shape. If you haven't taken care of yourself.
Yeah.
And that comes down to I've got 5 daily non-negotiables, 5 of them. I have a private Facebook group. We talk about this all the time. It's hydration. You and I have talked about this.
Yes.
Sleep. And again, on that podcast that I just listened to, they were talking about the fact that lack of sleep is directly related to Alzheimer's disease. That's an interesting statistic.
Yes.
Exercise, nutrition, gratitude, and meditation. Those are 5 daily non-negotiables. And I intend every day to focus on those, because at my 70th birthday party, provided the borders open again, I intend to take 7 of my fittest, happiest, healthiest colleagues and friends to me to Sedona, and we're going to climb Cathedral Mountain. And I've been there 3 times now, and I just about made it to the top. But at 70, I'm going to the top, and we're going to meditate, and we're going to drink, and we're going to celebrate. So I have a simple formula for people. I find most women make things too complicated, and so they abort.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very clear. And the few things I focus on, first of all, is you've got to have a vision. Now, I typically would teach people to do a vision board and a vision for their business and their life for 6 months, for a year. Right. Now I'm telling them, do it for a month, because the world is so uncertain. Do it for a month.
Right.
So you've got to have a vision, because it's right back to biblical principles. Without a vision, you will perish. Without a vision, you just go in circles. Without a vision, you don't want to get out of bed. And life is to be lived. So have a vision, and then take that vision and move it into specific goals. I focus on 3 goals. Most people just create a huge list. It's overwhelming. It's intimidating. It's exhausting, and they abort again. So focus on 3 goals. Move those 3 goals into 3 action steps. Keep it simple. Now, one action step, it might take you a week. It might take an hour. It depends. It's up to you. The thing is, live your life, create your life with intention, and then make a decision to create that vision, to put it into action. Goals are great, but they've got to be action oriented, and move that into your calendar and commit to it in ink.
Right.
You do not give yourself an out. And then the other piece, there's 2 pieces that are typically missed. One is the celebration of the achievement, no matter how big or how small. It's important to celebrate. So for me, I reached a major goal last Friday in my business. And so I bought myself some new workout clothes. Go figure.
Yay.
I was getting tired of seeing myself in the same COVID workout clothes. So I got some really bright, happy colored clothes that make me want to get up and put them on in the morning. Yeah. So celebration. And the other piece is accountability.
Yeah.
I have 3 accountability buddies and who hold my feet to the fire, and vice versa. Because my 3 areas of priority in my life are health, wealth, because money touches everything, Christy.
I know.
And that's why I want to help women become financially, not only financially free, I want to get them to a point of what I call financial peace. There's a difference there. So financial peace. So I have an accountability buddy for health. I have an accountability buddy for wealth, and I have an accountability buddy for happiness. That's my 3rd goal in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
I want to live a happy life. Now, it starts each and every day when I get up, because I have certain success habits. And that's another piece where most people fall by the wayside. They do not have a daily routine. They do not have success habits, which of course include, for me, the first 2 hours of the day are for me. I'm up at 6. By 6:30, I'm working out. Then I journal. I meditate. I do my gratitude journal. I have time for me. And then at 8:30, I'm at my desk. And then I'm in full-blown focused action with my goals first. See, if most people roll over in bed and they get their phone.
Yeah.
And you're getting sucked into other people's lives right away, which takes away from the energy and focus of your own life. That's just ridiculous. That's stupid. Focus on your own life first. And then when I get here in the morning, I'm ready to give, because I have refueled for 2 hours for me. And so my success habits are, I make a decision. What am I focusing on for work today? I am consistent in whether it's my social media, whether it's a newsletter to my subscribers, whether it's my Facebook video birthday greetings. I am consistent in my daily habits to grow my business and be of service to people. And I'm very disciplined about it. And I live my life 80-20, because I know it's important to take breaks, recharge, refuel, rest. Naps are a beautiful thing in my world. And so that sums it up, Christy, right there. That's Pat's life.
Yeah, no, gosh, I remember now as you were going through this, I remember taking all these notes before, and I remember your success habits and everything that you went through is a little different now, but it's basically the same thing of having your system.
Consistent. Yes.
System of what works for you, and then doing it over and over again and tweaking it, making it better, but doing it intentionally.
Yes.
So you get the results you're looking for.
It really is that simple.
Yeah. Wow. I needed I want you a second piece of paper here. So that was really good.
Simple is good too.
Yeah. Simple is good.
And so when I take notes, Christy, because I am on a coaching call every morning with my new coach, and when I come away from it, I have a lot of notes, and immediately one of my success habits is I highlight in the notes and I will pull 3 things and move it to an index card so that I put into action 3 things that I learned on the 1-hour coaching call, and then I move on.
Yeah, that's good. Because I know actually Kathy, we talked about Kathy briefly.
Yeah.
She did a call interview and I had all these notes and I'm like, all right, I got to implement these things. And I went right and did them. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And my system is a little different. So I don't transfer them to a index card. I put a circle next to the things that I want to take action on. And then I go back and then check those off when I've done them. But it's
There you
my
go.
way of pulling out that one thing and then not letting it get, just kind of like jumbled in the mess there.
Well, and then you close the book and it becomes shelf help.
Oh yeah. Right.
And that helps nobody because for most people, the way they think, it's all or nothing.
Right.
I would rather pull 3 things from my pages of notes and make progress. You don't have to do everything that's in the notes, but make some progress.
Right.
And celebrate that.
Yes. Shelf help. I don't know if that went by really fast. I don't know if everybody caught that, but shelf help, that is so good. another good thing here to pull out. All right. Well, this is good. So we're kind of doing this 12-day rapid fire, launch of our podcast with a bunch of amazing guests like you. And I know you have a special gift for our audience. So you want to share what that is, and we'll make sure we put the links to everything in the show notes below. But let us know and share what you're going to be giving our audience.
Well, it's very much in alignment with what I have shared in the content here, because again, I've been on a lot of summits and I've been listening to as well as being the guest expert. And I know people are on information overload. And I call it information obesity right now. It's an epidemic. There's so much. And so I don't, other than the interview content, I don't offer a PDF or a checklist or a book or an audit. It's enough already. Just take 1 or 2 things from what I said and implement it. And for those of you who are serious about taking a step forward and creating another vision, pivoting on purpose, I call it, then my gift to you is a 30-minute complimentary pivot on purpose strategy call with me. That's valued at $500.
Wow.
My fee is typically $1,000 an hour, but I am very committed to those who step forward and say, count me in.
Wow.
In which case, during these times of COVID and uncertainty and anxiety and so on, I want to be of service. So that's my gift.
Gosh, that is so generous of you, Pat. Thank you so much. And what
pleasure.
a great, do you want to put an expiration date on that when people hear this? Or all right, good. That's awesome. I appreciate that. All right. Well,
so how they get access to that?
Yes.
Just email me, pat@patmussieux.com. You have my email.
Yes.
And in the subject line, put pivot on purpose.
Pivot on purpose. Perfect. Okay. We will make sure that email is in the show notes. And thanks again, Pat, for being here with us. And we just hope that you come back again. We'd love to have you for an encore appearance.
I'm in.
Point in the future, because
I'm in. I feel again, it's such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to share a few things of inspiration where we keep it simple, keep it doable, and just go make it happen. So thank you, Christy. You are a gift in doing these podcast interviews and getting this information out to people. So thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Thank you. And all right, friends, you just got another great gift from Pat, or from one of our guests through this launch. And so I'd love to have you all take advantage of her, and make sure that you come back tomorrow for the next episode of the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they learn the art of mastering their story. Because mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back, or they can become the fuel that ignites a positive change in our life and the lives of others. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.